Okay, it's recording. So, what we have here is just a random name generator. Spent all night adding names to a big ass database, and I have 520 first male names and about 260 last names. And I want to get a list of female names, and then also double it so it's up to 1,000 different kind of names. But as of right now, he's just saying random stuff. He leaves the room, and it randomizes the first and last name, and then you get these very interesting names. So I figured I'd just kind of let it run, and we all just kind of enjoy some of the random names that pop up, like Caleb Washington. That's a good one. What else we got? Hal Petticoat. Yeah, this is. I'm digging it so far. I like the name combinations that come out, like Caden Galaxy. I added some strange last names and first names here and there. I wanted to keep all of it even. Like every alphabet gets like 20 names, 20 different names so far. So once I got to like X and Z and Y's, it started getting different. I was stretching here and there. Johan with a Y. Johan Balog, I like that one. Walker Xenos. I have Walker in there, like Walker Texas Ranger. I like that. I just picked up a list of just first names and last names and just started going through them. Paxton Lucas. You get a lot of interesting names. This will be good. And there's going to be 3 different levels of formality that people have, and that'll just be randomized. Ezra Shao, nice. I like that one. It'll be randomized. You'll have completely formal, which they will probably say something nice ahead of time, like introduce themselves properly, and then say, "Hey, Danny Idol." There we go. I like that. Um, they'll greet themselves like, "How do you do? My name is Harlan Carell. What is your name?" That kind of stuff. And then the middle thing of formality is you'll introduce yourself. You'll be like, "Hello, my name is Hugo Kenneth," and they'll say, "Hello, my name is Uncle Ottoman." Okay, nice. I like that, Uncle Ottoman. And then the least formal one, well, they'll just show up and just say, "Hey, I'm Ivy," and not say the last name, like, "How you doing? How you doing? My name's Eunice Yamamoto." Nice. I like this. This is just fun to watch, really. Elliot Eagle. A lot of alliterations going on there. A lot of comic book superhero names right there, and you got like Alexander Geller, and some of this. I'd see the name and be like, "Oh yeah, Brody" for a first name, like Adrian Brody, and then just kind of choose that. And then like Joel, I saw Joel and I was like, "Oh, Joel McHale from Community, yeah." And then yeah, Ford Tribeca. Just some of these names I just kind of picked from stuff. Adam LaBamba, I like that one. And some of them are since I picked their first name and then picked their last name. Sometimes the combinations might show up. Lincoln Loris, there's a fun one. They might show up as an actual person in real life. And then sometimes you get Vincenzo Gaiden. So yeah, just a lot of different stuff, and this is going to be implemented for each character. So each character is going to get a struct, and one of the things is they're going to have their names in there. They're going to have their formality level. So when you introduce them, it'll check formality and be like, "Oh yeah, he just calls himself Matthew," which I kind of want. I don't know. It'd be too much of a pain in the ass to have somebody who's named Matthew so and so, and if they're not, if their formality is low at level 1, then they call themselves Flynn Mertens. I like that. That's an Adventure Time reference if I ever heard one. Um, if the formality is low, instead of calling himself Matthew, he'll call himself Matt. But at the same time, it doesn't matter because I think Matt is also in there. So he's just a person who doesn't go by Matt, goes by Matthew. It's like how I go by Danny and not Dan. It's just preference, really. Isaiah Watson, nice. I like that one. And so yeah, along with that, they'll have other stuff. Zadrian Warren. Now that's a name right there. Zachary de Geer, nice. And also I added some of my friends' names in there. Not Zachary, but other stuff. Gus Valentina. Uh, along with, you know, formalities and their names, and they'll have other stuff such as their place of employment, their address, their hobbies, their favorite food, um, fears, you know, just like actual stuff. So when things happen, they can respond, and it's going to be a lot of work. But this is a dent in it at least. It's just giving characters random names. They're going to have random skins on them, so I only have to use so many characters. Like there'll be so many characters per room. We'll say like 8, and depending on who's inside the room, uh, it'll change their skins and just essentially just give them statuses. You know, all 8 characters will just be called, you know, fucking mannequins or something, and then really it just fills in the gaps depending on what room you're in, time of day it is, you know, where they would be at that point. If their favorite food is pizza and it's dinner time, there's a very high chance they'll be sitting at a pizza place in town, you know, and you can talk to them and they might be nice to you. And, like levels of rudeness, that'll be another thing, and they might Zyrus Ying. It's interesting. And Ivy Azumi. Yeah, if they're polite, they might say, "Oh, you know, let's talk. Would you like to sit down? Blah blah blah." And if they're super rude, then they're like, "Hey, you know, I'm eating a pizza. If you don't, could you not bother me right now?" You know, that kind of thing. And it all depends on the character. You know, procedural characters that have character that don't feel like they're just generically made, which I mean they kind of are, but they're randomly generated to make somebody who's interesting, who you know you want to meet Calvin Faust, you want to meet Yusef Inez, you know, and what they're about while you're wandering around town trying to solve a mystery. Because, you know, you never know. Fucking Robert Carell could be the guy who turns out to be a werewolf in this game. You don't know until you get into town, start meeting people, and start figuring out what they're about. So the ultimate goal here is to finish the female half so I can have female characters. And this whole program right now, I've got it separated from the procedural town, and this is going to be kind of a test on how to randomly build characters, which is going to follow a similar array, much like the two-dimensional array was for the town builder. Lincoln Whoops. I forgot I put Whoops as the last name. And so the idea for the lineup is it's going to be a police lineup, and the 5 people will walk into the screen, and you can ask their name. You can figure out whether or not they're married. That'll be another thing that you can add is create characters. You know, create male characters and female characters, and they'll decide whether they're married. And if it's married, then it links 2 of them together, and now the wife takes the husband's name, so now they're not Abernath anymore. Instead of Abernathy, they'll be Ottoman, you know. So that kind of thing, you know. And they'll be married. They'll decide whether or not they have kids, and the kids can go to the school. And the idea that I had earlier today is, did I mention this in another one? I don't know. I haven't been posting these recently. Is that not only are the supernatural mysteries going to be, you know, randomized and crazy here and there, but sometimes they'll read the newspaper and it'll say, you know, man mysteriously gets attacked by a bear, and then you go to investigate only to find that there's just a bear in the woods, like hanging out in a cave protecting its kids. So sometimes there's misleads, and you know sometimes it's kids in a graveyard wearing sheets over their heads, pretending to be ghosts and scaring people because you know kids are dicks. So sometimes you go to the town because people are saying the place is haunted. You go check it out. Not a whole lot of signs that it is haunted, but you see clues that lead you back to the graveyard. You find kids dressing up as ghosts pretending to scare people for fun, and that's it. And then sometimes it really is a ghost, and then sometimes it's not a ghost, and then it does turn into something else. Like the kids are playing in the graveyard, and you know, fucking Conan will say, you know, oh, I guess it was just kids playing prank on people. You know, kids will be kids, and then all of a sudden a poltergeist will pop out of a tombstone and possess one of them, and then you got a whole new problem to deal with. You know, it's gonna be all over the place. It's gonna be a lot of work, but a lot of it seems kind of feasible, I guess. It's all about just, you know, creating stuff on the fly, because every town's going to be created. I also had an idea for for like a state fair, and the state fair could be like haunted sometimes, and also like docks, maybe it's a small docking town where you can have like tiny little piers. Who knows? I don't know. So yeah, just a lot of new ideas as well, of just different stuff that could be attached to the town. And then the other big thing I have to do, because this was really just me fucking around. I made a giant tedious list of just different names, and some of them are just fucking video games that I just picked up, and I was like, yeah, Gaiden, sure. And then sometimes it's Elias Ragnarok. It's just this was fun. This was me not trying to think too much about how to do something that I don't know how to do right now, and kind of get me in the groove of doing it. And so now I still have to go back to the idea of creating rooms for each building. So there's going to have to be a different activation thing. I adjusted some of the industrial stuff, but really what I need to focus on is the factories can kind of be third. What I want to focus on right now are mainly the houses and the commercial areas, especially the commercial areas, because that's where you buy stuff in the game. And even in housing and the factories, like, you can break into those places if you have the skills for it, and just sneak around and rob people, and hopefully you don't get caught, a la the Quest for Glory 1. I guess they do it in the other ones, but I remember in Quest for Glory 1, they had, like, you could sneak into the house, and then if you made too much noise or did the wrong thing, then you'd wake the house up and could spell trouble for you. Flynn Blackheart, there's a name for you. Ooh. So, Danny Jasicki. I like that. That's funny for reasons. So yeah, a lot of work to be done. I gotta start mapping it out and figuring out what can be done, what's feasible right now, and what needs to be looked at and approached carefully, and approached with a lot of work. Which definitely the rooms are still on the board as, like, probably one of the bigger projects, the bigger priorities, and just to designate it, because again, it's not that impossible. I'm just not really. I see some ideas of how to get it done. It's just I think I don't know. I think maybe create a different array, like a whole nother two-dimensional array that just has interiors and stuff like that, and then the outside, the top layer array could be the town, stuff connected around the town, like forests and farms and state fairs and docks and caves and graveyards and fucking haunted houses out in the middle of nowhere. Just all that can fit on the 10,000 grid, on the 10,000 square grid, and just make a whole nother layer of just strategically placed. What am I trying? Strategically placed interiors that would have just their own designated labels, and it says, once you go into this building, it will take you to location A, and location A has, it's a pizza joint, so it has tables and King Pear has tables, and decorates it all with all sorts of different stuff, and just I gotta stop looking up. I'm like looking down right now, just kind of getting my thoughts together and figuring out what I'm trying to say. Uh, in this Druzus, this name generator thing is cracking me up on some of these, and I'm glad it works too. Not to get distracted from what I was saying, but let's get distracted from what I'm saying and just watch this keep going. It works nicely. Some of these names are goofy, and I can easily fix them. Warren Jr., nice. And some of it is just interesting, like Lorenzo Humphreys. Very, very original names. And sometimes like first names and last names are the same. Like I'm pretty sure Lawrence is a first name, and that Ubaldo Urlacher, like Brandon Yanks. Some of the last names are silly. Some of the last names are also first names, so you could very well get somebody named Lawrence, and or something like that, you know. So just interesting stuff. It'll make for fun things. I want way more variety, which is why I'm going to Iznu. Once I get the female name list, I'm gonna take a break and then double it. I'm probably not gonna work on any more of it tonight. I might start getting the female list going, because the first name part's easy. It's these last names that were kind of being a problem, and as of right now, again, I only have 260, and I would like to double that as well. Maybe skip out on like the X's and the Y's and the Z's and the difficult last names, because there's only so many X names. There's not that many. In fact, I don't know, I haven't been watching this the whole time, but I know one of the X names is just X. So it'd be like Wade X, like it's a Mega Man game or something. Frank Ottoman, there's a good name for you. And the Gideon Oyster. See, it's just silly names can pop up. That makes it a lot more interesting. And then sometimes you just have somebody named Evan Douglas, and then other times you have Zayden Ullman, or Zayden. I don't know how you would pronounce that. Dylan Zanders, nice. So yeah, I think I guess that's all I need to update on this one. See, the last name there was Evans, and the first name earlier was Evan. So you could very easily have Evan Evans. Then yeah, that's it for the update, I guess. I don't can't think of anything more to say. I'm just kind of fascinated with what the next name is going to be, like Dallas Affleck. Again, Dallas is the last name too. So yeah, that's it for that. I'll see you next time.